there's going to be a great fear of technology, because the previous world, you know, relied so much on it that to them it's like it's kind of like if you read a story about your grandparents and they died, right? Because the power went out for a week, you know. It's like this is how whimsical and crazy it's going to be. It's going to be an idiocracy, so dependent on technology that it just people just die because of their dependence on it. And in this new reality, everybody is such they're such filled with resilience and fortitude that the idea of dying because the power went out. I mean, there is no power in the future, so it's like it's two opposing worlds. It's so anyways, so uh, and strangely enough, even though there's no technology, there's this whole narrative taking place between my main character and the observations of the organic intelligence. It's kind of hard to explain. It's kind of like if a computer. I have to frame this. I have to make this believable. I guess this is one of the challenges in writing my story is that not in my story the main characters, there's four of them, right? Four of them. Uh, they're going to be four clones grown in a test tube for the sole purpose of reclaiming humanity and rebuilding from the old world a more effective system of control built upon the principles of Satanism, you know, because they're going to represent the four horsemen of the apocalypse, okay, that go about creating systems of thought in the minds of others that create disparity, right? Because this is what the title of the book is called. It's called The Great Divide. This is what ultimately inspired me to write the book, and that is that when you move past identity and ego, you can't be controlled. Okay? And in this new world, there's there's a shattering of the human identity, uh, and to reclaim what it means to be human, uh, most of the survivors have built almost like a spiritual sense of oneness with their surroundings and Mother Nature. Okay. And this influences the the artificial will that is a part of the being that is my main character. Or actually, in this case, four of them. Okay. It's not as simple as saying, oh, they have a computer chip implanted in their brain and they're a cyborg. You know, it's not really that simple. These people, these four individuals, these people were grown from the blueprints of their DNA. Their DNA was fabricated for the sole purpose of enhancing certain features of their mind, body, and soul. So you might call them superhuman, but that's not really a correct way of putting it because that implies they have superpowers. Uh, and in essence, that's not what they're about. They have if anything, they have super perception, okay, which means they can perceive things on a level because of their enhancements to their DNA and their organic wills that allow them to manipulate others in a very profound and effective way. And not just humans, but all life. So, which kind of mirror the four horsemen of the apocalypse thing. So basically, there's not going to be any kind of religion or religious themes in my book, but what they're representing will be, I guess, based on the four horsemen of the apocalypse, because the plan is for these people to rebuild society in four sections of the globe, representing the four horsemen's intent and will. You know, but the idea is that when the story becomes so dark and so without hope, because at the end of every book there's going to be four books uh, representing the hero's journey in each book, and at the end of each character arc, they're gonna each book is gonna end leaving the reader utterly without hope, not just for the not just for the human race and the main characters in my story, but also for themselves, and possibly for humanity as we currently know it in our world today. Um, so I have a lot of juxtaposition when it comes to what's happening in my book and how it might happen in real life in the future, because the genre, I guess, is science fiction, and it represents what might happen if we become too dependent on technology, and what might happen in the ashes of that apocalypse, uh, as people, insidious, powerful forces uh, create um, control out of chaos, so to speak. And so, anyways, I guess since I'm not rushing the process anymore, and I'm kind of just taking my time with it, I'm now having to chop up my personality into bits and pieces until I can decide finally what parts of my personality are going to represent what characters in the book. Like, for example, I'm a pretty complex person, and there's this one character I'm thinking about writing about called Nike, and I think it's ironic because I think the name Nike, I think, is going to be ironic because it's going to be like a witch doctor, a spiritual shaman type of character that is the village wise person. And anyways, this is going to be the person that the AI interacts with initially, uh, at least in the first book, and it's going to kind of set the stage for its understanding of humans from that point forward. Uh, and as I'm writing for this new character, I'm pulling on all my beliefs about spirituality and oneness, and because here's the thing, uh, I don't want there to be religious themes. I just want there to be an understanding that humans have kind of given up all systems of control, and in essence, control in itself is a myth. And I have to make that. I have to show that by, you know, by showing how people live their lives in harmony with nature and with each other, and how, you know, it's more of a scavenger lifestyle, um, where there's really no cities or towns or groups of people, because you have to consider that most people truly did die, and the only people that really survived in this scenario were people that had special qualities that made them good at surviving. You know, so it's like these aren't stupid people. They're very, in some cases, sociopathic people who have, you know, either isolated themselves you know, and are very violent in defending their territory, or like I said earlier, they just have learned to live in harmony with Mother Nature, and they kind of have this new spirituality that they're practicing, and that they, not religiously per se, but in this case, um, there will be like stories passed down from the previous generation that survived to kind of serve as a warning about technology, and how it kind of possessed people, and it was the reason why most people died, and why everything kind of just stopped working. Basically, they look at it as not God's punishment, but kind of Mother Nature setting things straight, and you know, leveling the playing field again. So so even though we might be the smartest species on this planet, we're no longer the most destructive, and that's what I mean by leveling the playing field. Um, but I think the fifth book is going to be really intriguing and really fun to write. Not that I'm not excited to write the first four books, but I think the fifth book will be interesting because it will cover not just it won't just resolve the narratives of all four books, but it also will cover almost like it'll kind of like go into the past a little bit and tell a narrative of what led to the calamity of humanity being so dependent on technology. So there's going to be a little bit of a backstory in the book, in the final book, in book five, uh, in the prologue, so to speak. And but I think in order to really, I think, make this process more effective, I think once I do some things in my life, and start becoming more diligent with my self care, I think I'm going to start taking some writing classes at Mount Hood Community College, because I need to kind of have an atmosphere where I can ask questions to people, even if it's just one class. Um, but yeah, so that's in a nutshell what I'm experiencing in this process of writing a book. But now I'm going to stop talking about the book, and uh, I'm going to do something different, and I'm going to actually play the game now. But let me start a new video.